Hi, Max.
Hello, Paula.
We are in the question and answer episode,
Yeah,
but let's start off with a location reveal.
yeah. We're in my Oma's backyard.
Talk about your Oma a little bit.
Yeah, Oma is Dutch or German. I believe it's also German for grandma. Maybe in other languages too, but my Oma's Dutch. We're not far from my house, probably a 3-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is the place where I grew up, I guess. It's kind of my second home. My Oma taught me to read and took care of Claire and I after school every day, and basically ran a daycare / preschool for us before we went to kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my Oma was a teacher, just like my parents, but she specialized in teaching students with learning disabilities, typically autism. Yeah, so she was like a grandparent, caregiver, and teacher for Claire and I.
Yeah, and we're here at her backyard, which I think is really special. Okay.
And it's another nice day.
Yes, weather report.
Yeah, it was pretty cold overnight. Like it went down to like 1 or 2 degrees for the first time this fall. And then when we got up, it was frosty out. There was frost on the roofs and on the grass. But now the sun's out and it's like hot. I'm probably going to have to take my sweater off
Yeah,
at some point.
we're actually recording later than usual. We record as early as 9:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. But that's also because Paula had to get tickets to the Twice concert in Montreal, which she succeeded at.
Yes. Well, shout out to Nika. She was in the queue earlier than me and got the tickets for the amount for the budget that we wanted as well. So, whoever's going to Twice, I'm so excited. I'm going to see my wives. I love them so much.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's unique about Twice?
It's the same thing that I feel about BTS. It's like the entourage. Like when you see them like together, it just looks so like they actually love what they do, and you can tell that in their performances.
Like by entourage, do you mean them like as a unit? Like when they're all together?
Yeah, as a group.
Yeah.
Like they just, I don't know. You've seen so many bands out there that are like, they just perform because they're together, not necessarily like, I don't know. There's no chemistry in a way. So chemistry for me, when I watch like art, an artist is so important. So I see that with Twice. I think they're like the only female band that I really follow these days. So, but yeah, which do you want to get into our Q&A?
Let's do it.
Well, I think I want to start off with, what are your favorite memories as friends?
Okay.
We have 2 people that asked that.
Yeah, this was one that I thought about beforehand. And the one, like if I had to pick one memory, the one that I arrived on was the Eden concert in France. I think the whole France trip is pretty iconic because Paula and I traveled to France together on technically a business trip because we got a grant as a startup to go to an incubator with other Carleton startups. We were going to an incubator in France. And it was awesome. We had a great time.
Yeah.
We got to know each other on the trip. I mean, we got to know each other beforehand, but I feel like traveling together, you get to know somebody better. Paula did a pretty fantastic job of planning the trip. I was like, I'll get us the money. You plan the whole thing.
No, but literally, I felt that was such a good dynamic, I find. Because I'm like scared to do all that money stuff, but you were like, it's fine, we got it. And I was like, okay. And then, yeah, I found the flights, I found the accommodation, train tickets,
restaurants.
On
that trip, we got tickets to go to see Eden in Paris. Do you remember the name of the neighborhood, the part of town that it was in? It was like on a hill.
Montmartre?
Could be.
It's the one that's near Sacré-Cœur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the concert was on a night where that day we had traveled from another city in France named Rouen, where the incubator or the business school had a campus. We were going from there back to Paris in the afternoon, and then in the evening we had to get to this concert, and we were rushing to get into the Airbnb to get changed to then go to the concert and arrive on time. And it was a rush, but it was freaking awesome.
Yeah. No, that was
And
so
the
much
concert
fun.
was great. It was such a great concert.
Yeah, I think we decided in the Airbnb the night before, like, are we doing it?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, let's go. And then, yeah, it was, and then I had my first, like, Jaeger bomb there. You don't remember that,
No, I
but
was trying to remember what we had. I thought there were like rum and cokes that were really flat, but maybe we also had a Jaeger bomb.
both.
Yeah, okay.
We had both. Yeah, and then our next Airbnb that we went to was a very sketchy one. But like, you know what? Like, we stayed in 3 different Airbnbs, and it was just one that was sketchy. So,
Yeah.
and it was not even that.
It
Like,
was fine.
it was fine. Like,
But getting through that neighborhood at night, I remember
yeah.
took Paula's elbow,
Yeah, I was like,
got
yeah.
us home. Yeah.
Thanks, Max. I appreciated that.
Yeah, so that was a core memory. And also I remember in one of the first nights on that trip, had a nice evening in the Airbnb just chatting. And I feel like I really got to know you then too.
That's so funny. When I was brainstorming my answer, that was numbers 2.
Yeah.
And I saw like a tweet that was like, I love the 3 a.m. version of people because they're honest and true and whatever. Which I felt like we actually had that moment. It was 3 a.m. I don't know, but now I feel like the 3 a.m. version of you, I get that any day. So that's where our friendship has headed.
Wow. I remember also when we arrived in France, we went to a cafe, and I think maybe we still had all of our luggage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we were early on the Airbnb check-in, and I think we got matchas and chatted for a bit. I remember we talked about religion
Mm-hmm.
and spiritual views.
That trip was so iconic.
Yeah, I think that's a collective favorite memory.
Yeah. I think you'd like this question. If money didn't matter, what kind of life would you lead?
Probably pretty similar to what I'm doing now. I would still work on the same projects that I'm working on today. Like, I think I'd still be interested in entrepreneurship and social innovation,
Mm-hmm.
trying to build new social media tools and new digital public infrastructure. And I think I'd also want to have a foot in the policy world and try to be understanding government and global diplomacy. You?
I would love to support creatives as much as I can. Because I realized being in the innovation space in my last year of university and then kind of in Algonquin as well, we take for granted like meeting rooms, like things to build stuff. So whether that's 3D printers or something like that, like we take those for granted when we're in like high school or just school in general. But then when you're in the working like era, there's none of that. And that's when I find that I'm turning to the public libraries. But the public libraries don't even have like rooms like that, or they do, but it's not as available / it's not really in the culture to do stuff like that. You need to have some sort of connection, I find, to know about these things, like the tacit like stuff. It's like people didn't know that you can do free French conversation lessons in the library every Wednesday here. But you just kind of have to know. And I would love to just empower people to use stuff like that. All my money and everything would go towards public libraries. Because, like, for example, if we want to build something new and choose a place that's not either of our houses and we were not connected to Carleton, where would we build?
True.
And I feel like that's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're just lucky that we have some connections to some spaces here. But yeah, that's the life I would lead. Also,
Cool.
I would be a writer.
Well, you do, right?
Wow. That's a good point. Like, writer in the woods, like, that would not generate that much money, so money wouldn't matter. Anyways.
Yeah. In the first micro blog post that I wrote the sentence, like, I'm a writer
Because I write.
because I write. It's like a stupid sentence, but it's true.
No, but I feel like the obvious statements are, like, we need that reality check almost. Like, yeah. But I meant, like, in the woods, like, by myself,
Yeah. Cool. Explain Filipino humor to Max.
Have I never explained that to you?
If somebody asked me to explain it, I wouldn't be able to explain it. So
I've had to, like, think about this. So the Filipino humor that I've grown very attached to is very linked to the queer community in the Philippines. Okay. So I don't have specific examples, but the humor is very loud, flamboyant. It's like overly dramatic. So there's actually a slang called OA, which is O and A, overacting, like overreacting. So that's something that's very interwoven in the humor where it's like so dramatic. Um, Lots of also noises in a way, like huh, talaga, like it's very like everything is shocking. I think this, you've kind of seen this, but Filipino humor very big on wordplay, and part of that wordplay is taking that word and not spelling it the right way. So
Estonia.
yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, that's literally that.
Paris.
Paris. Like, when was the last time I've ever said yes to you?
I don't know.
Exactly. Because it's always yeah or yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
People think I'm fluent in Tagalog, but I'm actually just fluent in the how youth talk. So it's like, I ganon. Like, I've never spoken in like Tagalog in front of
Okay.
you either, but can you kind of tell that it's very exaggerated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've shared clips of.
Yeah.
Well, you recently shared clips of a Filipino podcast that had
Yeah.
two guys that were
Yeah.
laughing their asses off, and I don't know about what, but it seemed like a good time.
So they do a lot of improv.
Yeah.
So for example, they were talking about crying, and it was like, I only cry in the air because I don't want to be crying on the archipelago. I'm better than that. I want to cry in like closer to God. And then the next person was like, um you know what, that makes sense because of the precipitation of the water. Like, where does rain come from? Water, luha, which is like tear. So you are actually contributing to the um
The water
to the
cycle.
like the water cycle. And then they're like, oh, you know what's a good song? Luha by the AGs. And luha, what does that translate to? Tear. Okay. And then tear or cry by Mandy Moore. So that was just like, that was a bit that they had for 2 minutes. So okay, I thought that we change subjects a lot. They do.
Okay.
So, but that's a very like, I think, queer, exaggerated type of humor.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Fascinating. I'm learning. I'm learning a lot.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the personality stuff or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Theo asked, please share your personality quiz results and talk about those. I mean, I don't know if we have the results per se, but we can talk about.
Which model?
We well, I have the MBTI and the Big Five.
Oh, you have your big five?
Yeah. Do you have your Big Five?
Roughly.
Girl. Okay. Do you know your MBTI?
Yeah.
What is it?
INFJ.
Okay. I am also an INFJ.
Oh yeah, we talked about this in the first episode.
Yes, but the key difference, I think, is.
True.
Do you want to explain? Or.
Yeah, I don't know how this fifth letter actually fits into the personality model, but you also get T or
an A.
A.
Yeah.
T for turbulent, A for assertive, and it has to do with your kind of stability. Stability feels like an overstatement.
Yeah.
It's probably more complex than that, but it has to do more with like your emotional regulation and kind of your baseline.
Yeah.
Baseline stability.
Actually, like, Janelle is also an INFJ, but she is an INFJ A. So actually, my best friends in the whole entire world have the same personality as me, but just a different last letter.
Yeah.
How about the Big Five personality? Like, do you recall which one like stood out to you, or like?
Yes, I think the high openness in my big five score stands out to me, and my low-ish conscientiousness.
How low? Do you remember?
I think it was maybe like 40.
Okay.
I think it would be higher now.
Uh-huh.
But
you took that during the summer too, in a way, right?
no, I'm talking about a score result from maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But I think that my MBTI would change more than my big five. Because for a lot of my MBTI, I'm kind of 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my big five is more stable, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
What stands out to you in your big five?
My conscientiousness is at a 97.
Holy cow. Well, that doesn't surprise me that much. But damn, that's high. Yeah, that checks out. I mean, this is the Paris planning is a good
Yeah.
example of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like high conscientiousness would be proactive, industrious, attentive to detail,
Yeah.
not liking uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I would say like neuroticism is at a 90, extroversion's at an
Okay,
80.
neuroticism at a 90 would I think also link to turbulence in the MBTI
Yeah.
model.
Who else is a turbulent baddie? I will say openness to experience is at a 91.
Yeah.
Extroversion is 80. Agreeableness is at 85. Back to the whole A and T thing, the assertiveness and turbulent. I find that you and Janelle have like a confidence in yourself in a way. Like I'm working on my confidence, but I feel like you both have some like very subtle confidence that's just it's like almost like an energy. And I feel like that's really tied to the fact that it's an A, it's not a T.
Yeah. I mean, both models are getting at something there. Like there's the
Yeah.
neuroticism trait and the turbulence/assertiveness trait in MBTI.
Mhm.
I mean, they're both looking at it from different angles, but it's kind of interesting how different personality models are hitting on the same thing.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, confidence linked with emotional stability, that makes sense to me.
Like I remember I was at a 17 concert and during these K-pop concerts they give out freebies and I was tracking down on Twitter like who is giving freebies, where are they, what's their Twitter and like what's their location. And then Janelle was there like, "It's okay, Paula, we just arrived. Let's just let's just scope it out." And we did end up getting freebies, but it was like a moment where you can see that we knew what we had the same goal of getting merch, but I had a more turbulent way of approaching it, and she was like, "We will see it. We'll find it. It's fine."
Yeah. Two people can follow the same strategy, and you could just do them with different emotional feeling about the strategy.
Yeah.
Like you
Yes.
can really rush something and kind of be worried about it failing, or you can just be okay with the outcome not
Yes.
being
Like be
exactly
like
what
I
you
think
want.
that's the example of the self-confidence. Just like I know. Like I
Yeah.
like it's but you don't say it out loud. You just kind of feel it almost.
Yeah, like I'm confident that this is going to go well
Mhm.
because I have this reasoning, and if
Yeah.
it doesn't, I'm gonna be okay.
And sometimes you don't even have the reasoning. You just know.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the N, the
yeah.
intuition,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
which I think is also linked with openness
Mhm.
in the big five.
Okay. Another next question?
Sure.
I'm interested to know your take on this. Have you ever struggled with turning your passions or emotions into tangible art?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, it doesn't need to be art, but just into something.
Yeah, definitely.
Like what do you think of that?
I think it is related to what I talked about in the first episode about me asking you what's your relationship with being perceived, which
Mhm.
when I listen back to, I'm like, that question doesn't like sound good when I hear it back
Yeah.
another time. But I think for me, it has a lot to do with perfectionism and feeling fear about how other people are going to interpret my words or my ideas. So sometimes I just won't do something because I think that the job I'm going to do is not good enough by my own standards and by the standards of others.
Mhm.
And I won't even distinguish in my mind which one of those two or another factor is actually stopping me from doing it. It all kind of gets bundled up in this feeling of resistance, like I'm not going to do it.
Mhm.
And then I never end up doing anything with the ideas that I have. But something we also talked about recently is how much easier and kind of freeing it is to create with other people as opposed to alone.
Yes.
So, for example, doing a podcast with a friend feels like a much more approachable way of sharing ideas creatively than
Mhm.
it does to, write an article or try making a YouTube video solo, in my opinion. And I mean, you know me with my blog, like,
Yeah.
had started that blog a long time ago, deleted it because I got self conscious about what I'd put out there.
Mhm.
and then have been like slowly easing back into putting stuff out there with your encouragement
Mm-hmm.
and trying to not worry too much about who's reading it, what they're thinking, and instead focusing more on just trying my best and putting stuff out there that feels authentic and fun for me to do.
What's like different about now versus before? Like you learned more about that like the perfection and that resistance is a thing, right?
I'm not sure because I think if I said I just don't care that I don't care what people think, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that would be fully honest. I don't know.
Just something's better now, or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I think it was recently. I had a very big wave of emotions the past week. Max knows all about it. But I think that was a moment where I had really big emotions that couldn't get out of me. Because typically, this is the workflow. I think of something, I build it, and I share it. Whether I share it with a friend or I share it to like something as public as an Instagram account. But for a second, I couldn't do that. So I was just kind of alone with my thoughts, and it was a lot and it was big. And I think when you have a hard time like turning your emotions into tangible art, it actually feels like an indicator to rest and actually instead of create it, consume it. Because I could not make the thing that I needed, but there's so much great art out there that makes me feel seen. So when I was like having this talk with Max the other day of just like all these emotions, you pointed out a tweet that I had where there was a gif of turning red. Like you learned something new from that tweet or something like that. And I realized that that movie makes me feel so seen, and so I rewatched it. And in a way, instead of me creating, I felt those emotions through there. So that's how I process if I can't put it into art.
What are the barriers of you putting something into art?
I think the number one is a lot of emotions. Like it's just like it's a lot. It's too much. And like I don't have enough like hands and boxes to like carry them, like these emotions. So that's when I think that's how I get creative, where it's like, okay, maybe it's actually not time to create. It's time to watch a comfort movie. It's time to talk to a friend.
I think it's always a work in progress,
Mm-hmm.
this field. I've also heard Jordan Peterson say that creative people, like highly open people, shrivel when they're not creating. The worst thing for a creative person is to not be creating, to feel like tied up by other stuff, by a job,
Mm-hmm.
by other emotionally heavy stuff. Like he's got the specific quote where he's talking about like a creative person like wilting and dying like a flower, like something that's always blooming and trying to give,
Yeah.
but when it's not able to bloom and bear fruit.
And I think that's literally how I felt this week. I was just like, I was very shriveled up, and then talking to a friend and then absorbing the existing content that's out there. Like, it made me feel more okay. Here, you choose another
Okay.
one.
Pros and cons of solo traveling.
Yeah.
Paula's leaving to go solo traveling tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and you've done it before too.
Yeah,
So,
I've done
pros
it
and
before.
cons.
Um, I think the pros is that you're exercising your privilege of getting up and leaving, and something about that is very empowering. And you'll realize as you grow older that it's actually harder to do that these days because you get tied into like family and different commitments and stuff. But it's very empowering to be able to just be like, yeah, I'm going. Bye. And pro is that you can set the pacing of it is a big thing.
Yep.
Because for me, I am not going to be I'm not gonna for me, I don't do any big extreme sports or big experiences. For example, like in the wilderness, I very keep to the urban setting. I feel most safe there. And I just go to cafes and that makes me really happy. I feel like there's a lot of travel bloggers that make it look cool that you should be in a Vespa on the back of some random stranger and like no, like you don't necessarily have to do that. You can tour all the public libraries if you want, which I feel like I'm gonna do. Uh, so you can set the agenda like that. I really feel it with food. Um, when you want to try a lot of food, but you don't have anyone to share with,
Mm.
or you get food and it's a lot for one person, and it would have been nice to share with someone. That's what I would say
Yeah.
is a con. But how about you? You've done a bit of it,
A bit. Yeah.
like pockets of it.
I think most of the solo traveling I've done is, well, the trip that I did this summer, I was going to some countries alone and then in between countries meeting up with
Mhm.
friends, so I wasn't alone on the whole trip. And I really enjoyed that. I agree that you get to set your own pace. It does feel empowering to be on your own.
Mhm.
To have everything just like camping, have everything in a suitcase and feel like you could go anywhere. You know, if stuff goes wrong, you can get another train ticket, you can go somewhere different.
Yeah.
That's a fun feeling. It's a unique social challenge to be alone and to make friends.
Mhm.
And hostels are a great place to do that. You know, like you
Yes.
can set the intention of, hey, I'm just going to spend the next hour chilling in the lobby of the hostel. Maybe I'll do some work on my laptop at the same time, or maybe I'll cook a meal in the kitchen and just see who I meet.
Yeah.
And you don't have to feel pressured to do that because I think people really romanticize the
Yes.
hostel and making international friends when you're solo traveling.
It's very hard. Like it's not as easy. Like I feel like even the most social people find a challenge there too.
Yeah,
Some sort of challenge within it. Yeah.
yeah. And in some environments, it's easier than others.
Mhm.
Cons, sometimes it just sucks. Sometimes like a bunch of like bad factors just add up and then there's just nobody to help you with it but yourself.
Yeah.
One pro of doing it these days is AI and Google Maps. Like
Mhm.
having your public transit schedules integrated into your map is so awesome,
Yeah.
and how easy it is to find ideas of what to do and restaurant recommendations with AI. And like if you see something and you're not sure what it is, just looking on a map or taking a picture of it and giving it to an AI and being like, what am I looking at? What's the history of
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, because I mean, you were traveling to countries where you didn't know the language. So I
True.
like how would you break that barrier when sometimes the characters are not the same, like how like you wouldn't be able to type it up maybe, but
Yep.
there's these like resources where you can just yeah, that's cool. But I agree with the whole like complaining thing because at the end of the day, like you can complain and I might complain, but then at the end of the day, I have to make the choice. Like it's on you to make the choice to make it better,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
which is like a scary feeling, but also like what the hell, sure. I wasn't sure about the hostel situation and how social I would be because in the end of the day, it's all individuals coming together. When I say individuals, everyone kind of has their own goal, and it's just we're not united necessarily by anything other than the fact that we're in the same like thing. But I'm going to actually be in Bordeaux to learn French, which then kind of everyone has like a mental intention to learn French, which like adds an even more attachment to even talk to have a reason to talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh yeah, so and then I'm also staying with a host family, which I think is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, staying with a family in a new country, I think is a really unique way of getting a feel for that country.
Yeah, because the minute I wake up, it's not hello, it's bonjour. Like,
Right.
I set it up that way because if I stayed, there's the option to do dorms with other students, and they're typically Erasmus students who are trying to learn French. I would be like, we would find the common ground of like, oh, I guess English is our common language. And then when you start a friendship with a certain language, like English, it's gonna kind of stay like that.
Yeah.
Like for example, that's why I find it even hard to like. I know we're both so like. I say I'm somewhat fluent. I know you're fluent, but like we don't even speak French together. We can, but it's just like our friendship is in English, so I'm trying to like break that right away. The minute I'm there, I'm like, je préfère le français. Like I have some notes of like, oh, j'ai pas compris if I don't understand a word or something like that. And I'm always speaking French first. But yeah.
I just remember on the topic of a whole bunch of bad things adding up and
Mhm.
then you being the only one to deal with it, on a trip to Finland and Estonia with Alex and Kirsten, we parted ways for a portion of the trip and met back up later. And that period that I was alone was my first time solo traveling,
Mhm.
basically. And it was very weird to feel that for the first time because it's not like I'd set out beforehand and been like, I'm going to travel to Estonia by myself. I
Yeah.
was going with friends and then had a few days by myself.
Uh huh.
And I stayed in the academic hostel at Teltech right beside the dorm that I ended up living in when I studied there last year. I had a suitcase full of wet clothes, wet luggage,
Mhm.
because the morning before, Kirsten and Alex and I had gone clubbing at this club in
Uh,
Tallinn, and we got way too drunk. And then, first thing in the morning, flooded the Airbnb with the washing machine. And then we didn't have time to put things in the dryer. So I lugged all of my wet stuff
uh-huh.
through Tallinn, hungover, and then had to check into this hostel late at night and then go do laundry, find a place to get food. And I was like alone and kind of scared. And I called my parents. I'm like, guys, it's going kind of rough, and I feel really alone right now.
Mm,
But I think I know what I have to do, and I went and I did it.
yeah.
And I ended up like buying some popcorn that night and watched like a comfort movie in my student dorm alone
Aw.
that evening, and then had a meeting with the program director of the program that I ended up studying in the next day, which ended up going very well. But that one night when I first arrived and I was alone for the first time, that was sad and lonely and rough.
Oh.
And all things considered, it was not bad at all. I just had some
No, but
laundry
like
to deal with, but it felt bad in the moment.
no, but it's the adding.
Yeah,
It's the compounding that really makes it like it gets to you, I think.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah.
but that builds character and
It
strength.
builds character.
And
I feel like I'm just becoming the solar traveler that I've always wanted to see online. Like the chill, well, kind of like turbulent in the inside, but like chill, urban,
suburb
safe,
baddie.
yeah, suburb baddie goes alone. Yeah. Even my dad was like, "You're going, like, who are you meeting up with?" I'm like, "No one." And he's like, as a dad, he's probably like, "Oh, okay. Anyways, tickets are booked, accommodations are booked, so I just gotta get my body to France, to Bordeaux."
Alex has a good attitude about airports. He is
Oh
always like,
yeah.
I'm not going to get excited about my trip until I'm there, because he's had enough bad travel experiences and airplane delays that he's like, I'm not stoked about anything until I'm physically in the country, and then I'm in a good mood. So
I
Alex is rarely in a good mood at the airport. But
actually,
that's okay.
no, like I feel like that's so valid though.
Yeah,
Like I feel like if you didn't say that, I was thinking that.
yeah,
You know? That's why I have been actually keeping Bordeaux pretty low key on my social media.
yeah,
Cause I'm like, I'm not until I'm there.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty stoic.
I will channel that too.
Yeah,
Don't
channel
worry.
your inner Alex. Okay, what books, articles, or literature have changed the trajectory of your life?
Mine is The Midnight Library. Okay, that book is about basically she dies. And then she figures out like all these different could have, should have beens, you know? And at the end, they just talk about how, you know, the prison is not the situation, but it's your mind. And that made me realize that it doesn't matter if I choose this or that or go here or where. Like, I'm just gonna struggle anyways. I'm gonna struggle everywhere, but I'm also gonna have the benefits and great things happen to me anywhere too. And then the second thing is a movie called About Time. That one, there's a bit of time traveling in it, but it's like not like a Marvel time traveling, which I think is really wholesome. It's kind of like, oh, I wish I could try time travel. What would that look like? And this guy gets to repeat his days, and his days are so ordinary. But there was this moment where he walks. He's a lawyer, and he walks through this like big hall, and he gets to relive it one more day. And he just like looks around and like is so amazed by everything. But this is his everyday life, and I felt that way. And now when I walk around Canada or I walk around Ottawa, it's like, huh, like it, life is so beautiful. So I learned that from that movie. How about you, Max?
The book 21 Lessons for the 21st Century would definitely be the book I think that influenced me the most so far,
Mm-hmm.
because I read it when I was in first year of undergrad, and it made me realize, oh, holy crap, I'm like living through a pretty revolutionary time. So Yuval Noah Harari talks about the twin revolutions of information technology and
Mm-hmm.
biotechnology, both happening at the same time in the 21st century. And he talks about propaganda and the business models of social media, and how we're going to need new kinds of ethicists and philosophers to program computers to make ethical decisions, because
Mm-hmm.
with autonomous vehicles and autonomous weapons, we have to think about uh, those things again, or not again, but like in a new context.
Yeah.
And philosophy and ethics are becoming relevant again. Like we have to think about big questions. And it kind of just blew my mind to think, holy crap, I'm growing up in a really unique period of history. And then there's also an essay by Jaron Lanier and Glenn Whale called A Blueprint for a Better Digital Society. That's almost like a response in a way to 21 Lessons for the 21st Century,
Mm-hmm.
where these guys basically say, hey, there's a whole new way of approaching the digital economy. We could have communities of people self-governing and owning the value that they create in the digital economy. And that could completely flip the incentives of how companies actually run and create value for people. Instead of people being something that platforms extract from, you could actually incent companies to create value for people rather
Mm-hmm.
than for advertisers. And so that was the first thing that I read that made me think, whoa, there are solutions to the problems that I'm reading about in books and that I'm learning about in my program. And that was really inspiring too.
Yeah, can I ask how you got introduced to that 21 Lessons book?
I have no idea. I honestly think I just liked the cover. I can't remember how I
Yeah.
bought it or why I bought it.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the physical copy?
Yeah.
So you were at like a bookstore and you saw it.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, it
okay.
was the chapters in Canada. I know I got it from there. It was a Heather's pick.
Yeah, it's still a Heather's
But
pick.
I have no idea why I would have chosen that book at that time.
Yeah, you spoke about it during my birthday or whatever. Because I did presentation nights and the quote there still really like sticks with me and I see the book all the time. I'm actually reading it.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm only like I want to say a third done,
Nice.
but it's very good. And it's also the reason like you bringing up that quote during my birthday is the reason why like I picked it up because
This might be one of the last moments in history where people are free to decide, or no, like kind of free to think for themselves, because
yes.
the algorithms are becoming so powerful in choosing
Mhm.
what information we consume and kind of who we are as people. So while you have the freedom to consider that, take
Yeah,
advantage of it. Like discover
exactly.
your identity before it's too late, before it's decided
Yes.
for you. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
If I can add one other piece of
Yeah.
media, if we're not just talking about written things,
Mhm.
there's a great interview with an entrepreneur named Chamath Palihapitiya,
Yeah.
and he helped grow Facebook when it was new. He is from, I think he's from Sri Lanka.
Okay.
He came to Canada when he was a teenager and ended up studying at Waterloo and then came to Ottawa for
Mhm.
work and worked in the Canada Tech Park and was always reading about Terry Matthews' entrepreneurship when MyTel was coming up
Okay.
and was very inspired by him. And he has a great lecture, or not a great lecture, but an interview at Stanford where he's talking about money as an instrument of change and
Mhm.
how inspired he was by the tech scene here in Ottawa and Terry Matthews' approach to money and how dynamic he was in his entrepreneurship. He was always ready to pivot a company and saw money as a tool for building the world that he wanted to see. He could embody his values in the world and kind of scale his
Mhm.
worldview through money,
Yeah.
not just as money, something for personal gain. And that's not to say that Terry Matthews or Chamath have necessarily a worldview that resonates with me. I don't really know their worldviews,
Yeah.
but it's just an interesting discussion about money. And he
Mhm.
also has this section in the interview where he's saying, why couldn't I be the person to do this too? Why not me? Why not any of
Mm.
you? And just that part where he's emphasizing why not really hit me. And I'm like, man, I feel like I could do
Yeah.
anything.
I would love to watch this interview.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's an hour, and the interviewer is amazing.
Mhm.
And he's so lucid and comedic in the interview as well.
Mhm.
And I don't love what Chamath talks about as much these days in his podcast, the All In podcast, which is a really famous podcast with four kind of venture capital guys, including
Mhm.
him. But if you want inspiration about like why can't you be the one that changes the world, I'd highly recommend taking a look at that one.
Okay. I love that.
Do you want to do one more?
One more question. Okay, I want to know this about you. Like who so I am obviously obsessed about BTS. What would you say is something you're obsessed with? Do you have an obsession? It doesn't have to be like a band or music or anything. Just like,
I can't really think of anything.
that's okay.
Like I think pro gamers are really cool, but I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like some artists.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell us who, like, you don't have to be obsessed with them, but there's also another question about, like, your favorite artists these days.
These days, I've always liked Deadmau5. He's a Canadian
Really?
DJ.
Uh-huh.
I loved him when I was a kid, and when I listen to him again these days, I'm like, oh, I really like his music, and he's Canadian. I think he's super cool. I really like Flume. He's an Australian DJ. I
Mm-hmm.
love his music.
You like Fred again as well, right? Or not as much?
Kind of had a Fred Again phase. I
Yeah.
love Fred Again's Boiler Room set.
Mm-hmm.
I think the energy of that set's freaking awesome. I like Tourist a lot from the UK. I also like Marabou State, who did the Kingdoms in Color album.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some great music. Yeah, that's who comes to mind. But
Okay.
I can't think of like an obsession. Oh, well, I like Formula 1 and I like Formula 1 drivers. They're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are writers like Jaron Lanier and Tristan Harris, Daniel
Mm.
Schmachtenberger, Audrey Tong, Zach Stein. These are all people that I find really inspiring and I keep up with.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I guess the question is more like when they put out stuff, regardless of who and what they are you keeping up with it
Yeah,
in a
okay.
way?
Okay,
Yeah.
when you put it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
I stand by my answers.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Okay, well, I think that's it. I mean, there are more questions, which thank you so much for leaving questions.
Yeah, thanks for the thoughtful questions,
I
guys.
yeah, it was really fun. Hopefully the noise isn't too bad,
Yeah,
but
really don't know, but I think it'll be okay, I hope.
yeah, I mean, Final Cut will do some magic with it. Why is it kind of getting worse as we're
Yeah.
talking? But yeah. All right.
See you after France.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, and then we'll see how the weather goes and record
Yeah.
from there. And there might be a nice little secret episode in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's it for today. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm really excited. Like,
Co-
qui suis-je?
Comment dit-on?
Quoi?
Comment dit-on?
Comment dit-on?
How do you say?
Oh, yes.
That was like, I remember one of the first things we would learn in grade 1.
Yeah.
How do you say this?
Yeah, comment dit-on?
Comment dit-on, English saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we had Korean food and we just looped the same song over and over again. It was
What?
You know, Perfect Night by
Yeah.
the Seraphim.
Yeah.
We like there and back. We just looped that song over and over and
Did
over
we?
again. You were driving, so it was your aux as well.
Oh.
Um.
Actually, that does ring a bell. Yeah.
Play with the words like that.
I would guess that's pretty. No.
No.
No. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. Can you guys hear this? Chat, can you hear this?
Can you hear us right now? We might have to move to a new spot. Who else is a turbulent baddie?
Turbulent, neurotic baddies.
Yes.
And my home was coming.
Oh, okay. Does you want to say hi? Yeah, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great, Oma.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, we were yapping for 1 hour 12.
Cool.
Not bad, not
That could be 2
bad.
episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
Could be.
Oh yeah, this could be 2 episodes. Yeah, he's editing. Yeah.
I love it. I don't.
Yes, you do.